I just thought I'd pop in for a few minutes here and speak about what I have found is an often overlooked and under-recognized practice that really supports us in preparing ourselves for love. Because the reality is, and for those of you that don't know me, my name is Gabriella Taylor. I'm a relationship specialist, and I'm an ordained minister. I'm the founder of Extraordinary Love Transformational Programs for Women. And the reality is mindset isn't enough. Emotional processing isn't even enough. But there are very specific practices that when we engage in these, they literally start growing new neuronal connections in our brain that allow us to have a new experience. So what do I mean by that? So for example, yesterday I held a workshop here at my home in Malibu for a group of 19 beautiful, beautiful women for the afternoon. And we were talking a lot about this, around how resistance, how we're neurobiologically wired to resist growth and change, and learning how to cooperate with the forces of change really is part of succeeding in this area. So if we're looking at relationship, it is the prime arena where we get to access the most deeply held triggers, challenges, soft spots, places that, we wince when we get activated by. Though relationship, there's nothing else like relationship where we come up against where we feel most challenged. Welcome, Kira, welcome. And so here we are, we're dealing with these challenges, we're dealing with these triggers, we're dealing with these haunting old stories that might harken back to when we were 8 years old that they got seeded. But as a 45, 65, 85-year-old woman, we still might be running around with the story that says, men can't be trusted, or I'll always be on my own, or whatever it might be. So there's more to do than just shifting our mindset, which means shifting our belief system, the inner narratives that we tell ourselves. There's more than just emotional processing, which means perhaps going back into places where we're frozen in time, where we might still be carrying heartbreak or loss or grief around. Maybe we had a partner, maybe we've met the love of our life and they died, or there was a betrayal, or there was a tremendous grief, or maybe we never recovered from a breakup, or maybe there was a trauma or something that we went through as a young woman. And so there's more than just mindset, more than just emotional processing. There's technology that we can use that literally support us in shaping a new perceptual filter, like a new set of eyes, a new lens that we look at ourselves in relationship through. Because the reality is every single one of us has some level of a story of deep down, underneath some level of, oh, maybe I'm a little too much of this or not enough of that, or maybe if I was a little different in this way, then I'd be, then I'd fully be lovable, or there might be this feeling of like something's wrong with me if I only could lose weight, or if I made more money, or if I, was younger, if I had less wrinkles, like whatever it is, the list can go on. But just naming these stories, whatever they are, it's not enough. We've got to literally start forming a new brain. And this is where I yield to the incredible wisdom and science behind neurobiology, which speaks a lot to how we, through practices and processes, which I'm doing a complimentary workshop tomorrow at noon, would love to have you with me, which is all about preparing yourself, preparing your brain, preparing your heart, preparing your internal landscape and the world, your world around you, your home, and just the place that you inhabit on this planet called your life. There are proven practices that if you do these, they will literally support you in expanding your capacity for emotional intimacy. They will literally support you in coming into a place of sustaining a vibrational resonance with the love that you're calling in. Because as Einstein said, or was attributed to saying, and I might, there's something along the lines of, the solution isn't available to a problem from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. So in other words, if you're walking around, the problem is that you're still single, or you're unhappily married, or you're dating, but you can't find the one, or you feel like you might have to settle, or that there is no one out there for you, that it's like finding, a needle in a haystack. my Foundations of Extraordinary Love 8-week program is just starting to take sail. And I was just dialoguing with a woman inside of our private Facebook group where she really feels like it's like finding a needle in the haystack. She's done so much work on herself. She's this beautiful, self-aware woman. And deep down, she does not believe that, you know, she can really find someone that's a match for her. And I get really excited when I hear this because I know like there are so many opportunities in just that statement of her misbelief to get some freedom. So not only, like I said, mindset, which we do in my program, the emotional processing, which we do in my program, and looking at neurobiological, you know, daily practices that we can do to help us grow a new brain. Welcome, welcome. So good to have you here. There are proven practices that literally support us. It's kind of like, you know, if anything, if you see a new baby that's progressing from crawling to walking, right? Like their little brain is putting it together. Like our brains are phenomenal. And the little brain is putting it together. And there's this impulse that's catalyzing us when we were babies to be able to stand up and toddle around as toddlers and then learn how to ride the bike. It's the same thing with our neurobiological wiring. So I've created this workshop tomorrow, this complimentary workshop. It's 1 hour, noon, where I'm gonna go through 10 proven ways that really support you in letting go of the past, making space in your life for the love that you're calling in, increasing your vibrational frequency so that way you're really aligned with the love that you're calling in. And I know that people talk a lot about vibrational frequency and all of that. The way that I look at it, it's straight up just think of a radio station, right? It's like you could be having a conversation with someone, and this is what my spiritual teacher had said to me, and I love the analogy. If you could be having the same conversation, let's say offering feedback to someone. So let's say the feedback is, you know, I felt uncomfortable when you stepped on my toe. You could be offering the same feedback, but depending on where you're coming from inside, where you're vibrationally coming from inside, like the radio station that you're tuned into, that feedback could be received or it could be considered as criticism. So what I mean by that, it could be, you know, if on one hand, if I'm like, hey, like I'm really uncomfortable with how you stepped on my toe, that didn't feel good. Naturally, you know, the vibration behind that is it would create someone to recoil or contract or maybe to feel defensive. Versus if I was coming from the perspective of, hey, can I share something with you? You know, I just want you to know that I was really uncomfortable with the way that you stepped on my foot the other day, and I just thought you'd like to know this, right? Like the energy is more gentle. Words are the same. It's the same exact thing. We are vibrational beings that are tuning into different frequencies based on our thoughts, our feelings, you know, our perspectives, how we feel about ourselves and the world, whatever our overall orientation to life is. We're tuning into different frequencies all of the time. And especially if we're talking about wanting to call in a loving relationship or improve or up-level the loving relationship that we already have, then that requires that we start transmitting new frequencies. And in this workshop tomorrow, I'm going to go through the list of all of these ways that you can literally start doing. If you just did some of these practices 5 minutes a day, and bonus points would be if you had a partner that you did them with, a girlfriend, you know, do them in my Facebook group, my Extraordinary Love Facebook group here, and just someone witnessing you and doing these practices, chances are, and you did them for a good month, it would be amazing to see what miracles come forward. And it's the miraculous, to me, it's like, it's not the miracle of like, oh, you know, wishful thinking or magical thinking. It's literally, Jenny, hi, beautiful lady. I was thinking about you yesterday. Really good to see you here. Hi, Leah, so just welcome. Hi, Julie. Oh, my dancing queen, my dancing queen. So anyway, so I would just like to invite you into this workshop tomorrow, Prepare Your Heart for Love, 10 easy ways to let go of the past, open your heart, and increase your loving vibration. Because as I was saying, it's not magical thinking. It's not wishful thinking of like, oh, if I do nothing, you know, if I just say a prayer and I do nothing, then he might appear. These are proven technological practices, both calling upon the mystical traditions and neurobiology, that if we do these practices on the daily level and especially get witnessed, you know, where two or more are gathered, there we are in the presence of the Lord, that creates an amplified field that really has the ability to move mountains, to dissolve inner barriers, and also create our ability to be open to receive, to expand our capacity for the love that we're calling in. So I would private message me if I'm not even doing an opt-in for this or anything, private message me if you're interested in jumping in on this workshop tomorrow, Prepare Your Heart for Love. and it's noon tomorrow Pacific time. And in the meantime, let's just send a blessing out to each one of our hearts that is truly in the process of whatever, whether we're single or partnered, whatever our story may be. May each one of us be blessed with extraordinary love. See you soon. Bye, beautiful people. See you soon.